Trump's arrested again. Part 4. The breakdown starts now. Welcome to the breakdown. I'm Tara Setmayer. This is the Rick Wilson, and we're not on a special indictment show because it's on our regular show night, and there's an arrest again. It's like you get a mugshot, you get a mugshot, you get a mugshot. It's mugshot month in Trump world, and
yes,
tonight it is finally happening in Georgia. Finally, some accountability for the insurrection fake elector scheme, and Rick. We're going to talk about that because it's happening right now. As we speak, Trump is en route to the Fulton County Jail, which is notoriously awful. And we are expecting a mugshot soon. So it's probably going to happen at some point, either probably like right after the show, though. I think he said he's supposed to arrive at 7:30. So we may not get the mugshot in real time, but we're watching. If we do, we'll send it over. We'll put it up. But in the meantime, there's just so much to talk about. We've got the Trump arrest, part 4. We have Rick fresh off of his trip in Wisconsin. He was at the GOP debate last night. I want to hear all about that. Let's just set the scene for the arrest first, and then we'll get into the debate, because that whole thing last night was a debacle and a half. But right now, what's going on? Rick, we've got Trump on his way to the Fulton County Jail. He's already prearranged his bond, $200,000 or something. We are getting a mugshot, which is different than last time. And I think there's going to be cameras in the courtroom, which is different because this is state court.
There will be.
County court, not the federal courthouse, which doesn't allow cameras. So Trump picked this time because he's treating this as if it's a primetime reality show spectacle, which it's being treated as.
Let's be real. That he is the master of spectacle in American politics. There has never been a president before who was so capable of exploiting the theatricality of his criminality.
Yep.
And to try to turn it into a fundraising opportunity, a political strategy, a messaging strategy. And the fact of the matter is, we're about to see Trump walk through that door, put his fingers up, and basically lock in the Republican nomination because he's the victim. Oh, poor pitiful Donnie. He's got to go because, that mean black lady in Atlanta is after him. Yeah. You watch, the whole thing's going to play out. The MAGA world is losing its damn mind right now.
They are. And to that point, Rick, Trump has been, thumbing away on his bootleg Twitter social media, and he's actually insinuated there could be violence this time. He's really ramping up the rhetoric. He says all kinds of crazy shit anyway, but he called the prosecutor a lowlife, and he's called Jack Smith all kinds of crazy names. Whatever, we're kind of over that now. But the stochastic terrorism aspect of this with him, where he's insinuating violence and he's activating people. That's the part that concerns me and just infuriates me, because he continues to get away with it. If this were anyone else, they would never be able to get away with this.
They would already be in jail.
Right. This is not protected speech. So
they would already be in jail, Tara. And
under the jail.
And look, you and I both know that Donald Trump, we've been saying this for a year and a half, he's going to be the nominee.
Mm-hmm.
He will have so much. He will have so much to answer for if his people take the same lead from him they did on January 6th. And look, I get it. If you're a MAGA listener or a MAGA viewer of this show, you're probably here just to hate watch, and that's fine. That's fine. I don't care. But think about what Donald Trump has already done to your friends. Think about what he did to the people that stormed the Capitol on January 6th. Not only are many of those people who engaged in violence on his behalf going to jail,
or
many of them
there
in jail. Mm-hmm. And you know what? They freaking deserve it. They deserve to be there. And if you go out and commit violence on Trump's behalf, you're going to go to jail too. Some guy said to me today on Twitter, I loved it so much. He goes, if Trump's in prison, MAGA will break him out. I'm like, please try.
Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that. As my husband always says.
I want to see you break him out of a federal facility. I want to see it. I want to see it. Give it a whirl. See how it goes for you.
These people are so delusional. There was a CBS poll, I believe it was, that came out last week, I think. It was the week before. They're all starting to meld together. But where it actually showed, or no, it was NBC, because I think it was MSNBC that showed it. And I took the screenshot and I sent it to our chat. And like, this is a cult. It showed that more people believe Donald Trump, that find Trump more trustworthy than their family and friends and their religious leaders. Donald Trump was, who do you trust more? And that's the list. It went Trump, family and friends, religious leaders. And then the media was like at the bottom. This
is 71% of those voters said that they believe Trump more than anybody else.
More than anyone else.
That's the craziest goddamn thing. You know what? And the problem, Tara, is there's nothing mediating that behavior. All the political incentives on the right at the moment are directed toward enhancing that behavior. These are all the tricks, and all of our friends that we've talked to, Ann Applebaum, Jennifer Marcia, Tim Snyder, all these folks we've interviewed and talked to over the years, they have all described that the cult-like leader of the personality cult, the authoritarian leader, builds a separate bubble of truth for his people. Yes. And it's disconnected from everything else around them. And when that bubble is penetrated, or someone tries to get in it, their immune response, their immediate reflex action is to push back and to become angry and to become dangerous. And we are surrounded right now by millions of Americans who tonight are going to watch this, and they're not going to say, that's Donald Trump finally being held to account for his horrifying crime of attempting to overthrow the U.S. government through violence and conspiracy. They're going to say, there's the martyr, there's the new Jesus. And we have fought this in Lincoln for 3+ years now. Every day we got up in the morning every day for 3+ years and been in this fight. It's exhausting, folks. It's long. Sometimes you get sick of us telling you Trump's going to be the nominee. He's going to be the nominee.
He's going to be the nominee.
Get ready for the fight. This indictment is legitimate and just. It does not stop or change the Republican Party's determination to put him at the head of their ticket and to destroy this country.
And if you don't believe us, we're about to talk about the debate last night. If you didn't watch it, we did, so you don't have to. And if you think that anything that's going on here with Trump and his 18 co-conspirators in this RICO case has moved the needle at all, you're sadly mistaken. I want to give you a preview, though, of some of the co-conspirators' mugshots, because out of the 18, most of them have turned themselves in. A handful have not. There they are. There it is. Make attorneys, get attorneys. The new MAGA right there. Because a whole bunch of those people right there are lawyers, or used to be.
Somebody called it the Zoom from hell.
That's pretty good, because that's what it looks like. Somebody, I guess Jenna Ellis, thinks that this is funny. She's posing for family photos. I forgot who had said that. Somebody said, maybe it was Sarah Rumpf, I think, who said she was somebody else, that she was thought it was yearbook picture day. I think it was Lucy Caldwell, but you have Sidney Powell, who looks batshit crazier than usual in this picture. Oh, yeah. Giuliani, I don't know who's going to play Giuliani in the biopic, but that's going to be an epic film of like a fall from grace film right there. Because good grief, you've got Eastman, you have who else is in there?
You got Kenneth Cheeseborough, who has now managed to accelerate the trial into October.
What an idiot.
Genius. I don't know who this Ray Smith guy is, but I guarantee you he's got a book about cooking human beings in his house somewhere.
Oh my God. Is that the guy in the blue?
Yeah.
How did I guess?
And John Eastman, John Eastman's was the first that came out, and all I could think of when I saw it was, hello, Clarice. Are the lambs still screaming?
It does. If you do
I ate his liver with some fava beans.
It's gross. And you're right. I can never unsee that.
You can't.
Mark Meadows also turned himself in And that's not a flattering mugshot either. I don't know if we have that one, but he tried to fight it and push back his arrest and move his case to federal court, him and Jeffrey Clark. And the judge said, no. So he had to get arrested as well. I mean, this is pretty remarkable. We're making fun of this, but you're looking at the former president of the United States, soon to have a mugshot. He now has a rap sheet. Rudy Giuliani, the former mayor of New York, America's mayor, hero of 9/11, personal attorney to the president, he's now arrested. You have the chief of staff to the president of the United States, he's now arrested. This is insane. I mean, this is really a sad state of affairs.
I want to mention on the Mark Meadows front, we've told this story before, but in December of 2020, when the Lincoln Project was one of the first groups to call out the fact that Donald Trump was trying to use law firms and use attorneys. And at the beginning, by the way, folks, he didn't have these like weirdo scale attorneys. He had real law firms. Lincoln Project called them out. We identified who they were. We said who they were in public. We said what they were trying to do was to overturn an election by invalidating African-American votes, particularly in Pennsylvania. And we made that point very clearly and publicly. And at that time, we learned this only during the January 6 hearings. Mark Meadows sent an opposition research material packet to Bill Barr. And it was about me and Reed Galen and Stu Stevens and the Lincoln Project writ large, and the sort of work that Tara and I had done on this show.
Yes.
And he sent it to Bill Barr and said, basically, go get him. Bill Barr, if you want to, the next time I hear one of you muffos say, oh, the weaponization of government, without mentioning that Mark Meadows went after us, you can eat a giant sack of you-know-what. Because these people weaponize government against their political enemies, the people they feel threatened by, and that's us. And you know what?
Right. I wear that with a badge of valor, by the way.
Get arrested today. Man, that was very satisfactory to me.
Yes, absolutely.
And by the way, when he's in prison, I'm going to send him like Japanese tentacle porn. I'm going to send him the worst things when he's in prison. It's going to make his life a living hell, and I cannot wait.
Oh my gosh. By the way, that anecdote was brought to light in, it was the January 6th. How do we find that out? Yeah, there was a January 6th treasure trove of information. And and Mike Pence also wrote about in his book how one of our Lincoln Project ads that pointed out the fact that it was the vice president who would seal the deal on January 6th, that they didn't really know that until we put out our little video about it. So we've had our hands.
Mike Pence murdered. Sorry, Mike.
Yeah, sorry. So, well, we didn't know, right? Whoever would have thought it would have come to that. But anyway, so good God. So to the debate, because all of this, as we're talking about this, as Donald Trump is on his way to get arrested again for the 4th time, there was a debate last night, which in Earth 1, where we live, you would think, well, that would be great for people who are trying to defeat Donald Trump. They would knock him all around. He didn't show up. They'd go after him. No. Because in Counter Earth, where they live, Donald Trump is still their master. And they still have to bow a knee to him. And no one other than Chris Christie and Asa Hutchinson was willing to really go after him and go after all of his criminality.
And I'm only going to score Asa, who kept his hands by his sides. Christie was like, he said the right thing.
I'm not sure. Only because I think Chris Christie was going like this because he wanted to interject. I don't think he put his hands up. He could not possibly, after making his entire campaign about what a criminal fuck Donald Trump is, possibly say he would still support him. I can't imagine. It looked to me, and I was watching closely, it looked to me like he was going like this because he wanted to be like, you know?
I'm going to give him credit. Look, I think there were 3
and you know how I feel about Christie, but I just want to be
I know. There were 3 people in that debate last night that actually showed some leg about opposing Trump in various ways, permutations, and variations. It was Asa, who doesn't matter.
Right.
Okay, I'm sorry, it doesn't matter. He does not matter. It was Christie, who is still a guy riding, aside from New Hampshire, he's riding at about 1%. And his numbers with Republican voters he's basically about 60 points underwater with Republican voters.
He got booed the most last night.
Right. And And while I don't give her a lot of credit, I think a lot of it was performative for donor purposes.
Nikki
Nikki
Haley.
Haley made a case against Trump on things like the debt and spending,
Yes.
which look, I'm going to give her points. I'm not going to fall in love with her or anything, but I gave her points for at least bringing it up. But you saw the audience reaction was just unbelievably vicious.
It was.
The mildest critique of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And the audience reaction is just absolute fury.
Well, I thought that Nikki Haley won the debate, actually. And because she had the most memorable moments. She had a couple of quick one-liners that were good. That's what, this is if we're talking about conventional wisdom and like normal political stuff.
Like the basic mechanics of the
basics of it. I mean, they're all disqualified as far as I'm concerned, but the ones that raised their hands to say that they would still support Trump, they were really disqualified. And she was the second one next to Vivek who did it. So that aside.
Well, look, she did America a service by taking off Vivek Ramaswamy's head and kicking it around the stage like a soccer ball.
Her and Mike Pence. I have to say, Mike Pence I saw, I was like, where did this guy come from? So this is what both balls dropped Mike Pence looks like, because I was like, wow, look at Pence go. Good for him. He had the most talk time, for goodness sakes, which I never thought I would say in a debate. So between him and Haley, they schooled the hell out of Vivek Ramaswamy. But I want to show a couple of our videos because our creative team has been working diligently to put out awesome content around all of this. And before the debate, because Fox News wouldn't license any of the footage until like after or whatever, we came up with the creative team came up with this very, I think, pretty accurate depiction of what they thought the debate was going to look like. Take a look.
Fox News will not allow the use of footage of the first debate. As a service to America, the Lincoln Project presents this pre-enactment. This pre-enactment is a work of fiction. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidental. In this first presidential debate for the 2024 nomination, we're proud to welcome Donald Trump, Chris Christie, Mike Pence, Nikki Haley, and 2 other guys. Let me tell you, I'm glad to see the moderators are hot. Even Brett, who hasn't always been so nice to me, but he needs the work. But we love hot. With me as president, we will make women hot again. Make America hot again. This is more just disgusting drivel from someone who's clearly unqualified to be president. And I think I speak for the rest of the candidates up here when I say I'm ready to drop out and endorse you again. Do you mind if I stay here for the rest of the night? Do whatever you want. I'm not going to make fun of your body tonight. That's because it's not your body anymore. It's mine. I own you. Slavery style. Remember slavery? We're bringing it back, baby. And this time it's not just for the blacks. That is an outrageous statement that I absolutely disagree with and also will deny ever hearing 4 months from now when I endorse you and say you're the most honorable person I've ever met. Thank you so much for your support, Nina. It's Nikki. No, I think it's Nina. You said Nina. You really don't remember me, sir? Every time you said something terrible, I cleaned up your And we're back. Let's hear from some of the other weirdos up there. And believe me, I know weirdos. I work at Fox News. There's been a lot of talk recently about January 6th. Having barely survived January 6th, I know firsthand that January 6th never happened. Good boy. Can I get in here? I'd like to say woke, 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 will woke, woke. That's actually a really good point. Yeah, it is. Anyone want to offer a rebuttal? Well, what about woke, 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 woke? Is that a Muslim? Governor DeSantis, your response. Woke, 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 woke. I am enough. Woke, woke, woke. And that concludes this first Fox News GOP primary debate. I didn't get to go. That mother is not real.
Bravo.
I want to shout out our secret writing team and Joey and Michelle Kinney, who kicked ass on that ad. It is a fantastic piece. It has gotten over 1 million views. I've gotten nothing but great uplift comments on it. And you know what? It's kind of the old pirate swagger from LP. You're going to see a lot more because you know, as much as these son of the bitches are all trying to burn our country to the ground, we're going to laugh at them as we burn them to the ground. And it was shot on an iPhone, by the way. Shot on an iPhone. Yeah, that's pretty amazing work. Yeah, well done, guys. I mean, is that a Muslim? Is that a Muslim? And the boots. Hysterical. Well, you know what? Let's talk about that. DeSantis. It was a bold move of Ron DeSantis not to show up to the debate.
Right. What happened to him? He was completely overshadowed. I mean, he started off, they put him in the middle because he's polling number 2, 40 points behind.
Well, they put him in the middle because I tweeted this last night, and then I actually had a source who's, let me be careful how I phrase this. I had a source confirm for me that an executive decision was made at Fox to try to give Ron DeSantis a key moment in the debate so that he could reset his campaign, because Rupert is worried about he's lost his investment in Ron DeSantis. Guess what? If Ron DeSantis had gone out there and made an opening statement that resonated with Americans and was bigger and less spiteful, mean, pissy, bullying, shouting, squinty-eyed, uncomfortable, cruel, shitty, horrible, he would have had a moment there. But instead, he was like the incredible shrinking candidate. Every time he opened his mouth or tried to have a human facial expression, he became less relevant. You know what? None of the other candidates were like trying to nuke Ron DeSantis because they know something.
Right. Because like, they know they don't.
Once your enemy's on fire, why piss on it?
Exactly. They already know he's self-destructing. That's why everybody went after Vivek, because he was such an insufferable prick the whole night. And he hogged the camera.
He had less time than Christie on the
Ron DeSantis did. Yes, he was he was like in the middle of the pack down there with Tim Scott and the rest of, where is he? There he is. He was 1, 2, 3, fourth in talk time. So
how did Michael Penis get the most talk time?
I know. I think it was because of the interactions with Vivek, because he would never shut up and he was going after Pence. And so if they invoked each other's names, they got a 30-second rebuttal, which turned into much longer. But back to Ron DeSantis, his opening statement was awful. He was yelling from the very beginning. I tweeted out, what's the matter? Are his heels hurting him already? He's got 2 hours to go. It was just so off-putting right away. And he's so, to your point, he's so arrogant and awkward that at the end of every time he spoke, and he had those like canned one-liners that he's used on his stump before, and he obviously practiced.
You call Anthony Fauci to your office and you tell him, you're fired.
You're fired, Anthony Fauci, on day 1. Like, it was so, like, what world are you living in? Like, he's in his own little world, too.
By the way, folks, I've done a lot of presidential and U.S. Senate and governor debate prep over the years. And when you give them the gestures that they use over and over, stop.
Yeah.
Act like a normal human being.
That's not what normal people do. And people
do. I mean, he did everything except double pistol fingers.
Probably because he couldn't get it right. He couldn't get it right. And so they said, you know what, Ron, never mind. But look, I just want to show people at the end of every time he talked, he was like, yay, mommy, I did it right, I think. Watch this. It's so weird.
And I will not let you down.
What? Play it again. What is that?
And I will not let you down.
Oh my God, it's so creepy.
Somebody texted me last night and said, season 6 of Westworld is already off the rails.
Oh my God, it felt like that. Are these people real? Are they robots? What? It was so weird. Not only that, he also implied he wanted to go to war with Mexico. Check it out.
Oh yeah.
So as president, would you support sending U.S. Special Forces over the border into Mexico to take out fentanyl labs, to take out drug cartel operations? Would you support that kind of American military use?
Yes, and I will do it on day 1. Here's the thing. The cartels are killing tens of thousands of our fellow citizens. You want to talk about a country in decline? You have the cartels controlling a lot of part of your southern border. We have to reestablish the rule of law, and we have to defend our people. The President of the United States has got to use all available powers as Commander-in-Chief to protect our country and to protect the people. So when they're coming across, yes, we're going to use lethal force. Yes, we reserve the right to operate. How many more tens of thousands are we going to let to die? I am sick. I've met angel moms throughout this country. I met a lady in Texas named Tracy, and her son took 1 Percocet that was laced with fentanyl, immediately died. That is happening all across this country because of the poison that they are bringing in. So as president, would I use force? Would I treat them as foreign terrorist organizations? You're darn right I would.
Oh, they left off the best part. And he said he was going to shoot them stone cold dead.
Stone cold dead. Look,
what? This guy.
I get that there's the juvenile posturing of Ron DeSantis of, I'm going to kill them all and let God sort them out. You know, Mexico is our largest trading partner. It is our nearest neighbor. It is a country that has a whole variety of problems that cannot be solved by Ron DeSantis thinking he can order drone strikes inside of a sovereign neighbor. It does not work that way, Ron. You're an actual attorney, and you know these things, but you think that you're going to spin the rubes and make them think that you're some sort of extra tough guy. He also last night, as he has done in the past,
I was just going to bring that up. The Navy SEALs.
Ron DeSantis, and in his first campaign for Congress, used a picture of himself in full battle rattle, like suppressed M4, body armor. Ron DeSantis sat in a fucking trailer in a fob in Iraq and handled divorces, foreclosures, and repos for these Marines and these folks in the SEAL team. He was not a shooter, a trigger puller. And while he carefully stays just behind that line, he also doesn't mind seemingly if people kind of sort of think he was.
Right. It's borderline stolen valor. It really is.
It's just the tip stolen valor.
Yes. Yes. To use a Rick Wilson expression. Exactly. And that's so desperate. That is a tactic of a desperate man trying to prove he's tough and he's relevant and puffing himself up to make his wife love him more. It's just so off-putting. And the point of all of this is he's toast. That did not look like a guy who believes that he's in a position of strength. That to me looks like a guy who knows that this is the beginning of the end. He doesn't want to be there anymore. Look at his face.
For all the donor and Republican gentry belief in the beginning of this year. And look, at the beginning of this year, you could not look at National Review Online without seeing 15 stories about how Ron DeSantis, how he was the greatest, he was the second coming of Reagan. He was Teddy Roosevelt. He was God. He was Churchill. He was the greatest leader of all time. How he had a new philosophy of governance that would cause the sun to shine and birds to sing. And it was all garbage. Yeah. You could never get away with this if you were a terrible candidate, and he's a terrible candidate.
And we called it. Listen, the microcosm of what was to come, the harbinger, was when Brian Kilmeade was in that diner in Florida, and he was going around, and the lady had a DeSantis shirt on and said that she wasn't sure she was going to vote for him, that she still liked Trump. Remember? I was like, oh, wow. That right there. Well, he was out there in Wisconsin again doing the diner focus group thing. And it was scary to me how many people liked Vivek. This guy, Vivek Ramaswamy.
I will say this. We were so Trivia Olson, our senior advisor, and I were on the ground yesterday at the debate. I'm going to tell you, the Vivek ground game, they flooded the zone for that thing.
It's Andrew Yang vibes. It gives me Andrew Yang vibes.
It's very Andrew Yang vibes. It's also very sort of like, it's really slickly produced on the ground. They have a ton of people. I mean, the DeSantis bus was out there, but it was like,
I saw the picture of you cracking up in front of it.
But it was weird. It was weirdly unengaged. I mean, but the Vivek folks were, look, they got hustle. I'm not going to say they don't.
And they're young, right? He's preying on the younger. Remember the last time we were on, I told you how I was at the 50 Cent Busta Rhymes concert, and he had one of his clipboard guys walking around. But after seeing him in the last couple of weeks and what he said last night, since he was Donald Trump's #1 ass kisser, they are deceiving people about Vivek's position on Trump. Because the guy that approached me said, do you want to stop Donald Trump? So he's trying to lure people, younger people in who think that Trump's, that don't like Trump, into signing up for Vivek, when actually Vivek is one of the biggest boosters of Donald Trump. He was his biggest ass kisser all night last night. So this guy is full of shit. He's got the smarmy smile of a used car salesman. He not only that, he wants to do unconstitutional things like, oh, I don't know, hold a second election with paper ballots after January 6th. Did not agree with what Mike Pence did. Did not agree with Mike Pence upholding the Constitution on January 6th. He's a 9/11 truther. He wants to stop funding Ukraine, our allies, Taiwan, Israel. This is a scary guy that's full of shit. And I'm so glad that Nikki Haley and Mike Pence handed him his ass, and Chris Christie too, a little bit, to show that he's an amateur and doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And he's dangerous. And I have no tolerance for him. And yet, this is who Republican primary voters have gravitated toward for one reason only, because he's boosting Donald Trump. That's it.
Yeah. And he's willing to do and say almost anything. And we've got a couple of clips that were just outrageous.
Yes. Well, the first one, Chris Christie called him out on, because in his opening statement, Vivek completely ripped off Barack Obama's speech during the DNC. Check this out.
The hope of a skinny kid with a funny name who believes that America has a place for him too.
Who the heck is this skinny guy with a funny last name, and what the heck is he doing in the middle of this debate stage?
Attenzione, pickpocket! Attenzione, borseggiatrici! Pickpocket!
Yes.
Pickpocket! Attenzione, pickpocket!
Yeah, I mean, and Chris Christie, to his credit, called him out on it. Now, Vivek is quick on his feet because he's a snarky little thing, but he shot back at Chris Christie about the Obama comment and said, oh, well, maybe you can hug me and get me elected like you did Barack Obama. That goes back to 2012 when Hurricane Sandy hit my beloved state of New Jersey. Barack Obama went there to visit, to see the damage. Chris Christie was in the last month of the campaign, like actually 2 weeks before Election Day, or a week before Election Day. And he was seen being very friendly and embracing and shaking hands with Barack Obama, which was anathema at the time. And they didn't think he was sufficiently pro Mitt Romney. And Chris Christie at the time had a much bigger star in the Republican Party. I don't think that swung the election either way, but he's never lived it down with some of those hardliners on the right. So that's what that little quip was about. And Vivek, just I cannot with this guy.
Listen, he is a reptilian little opportunist and a demagogue and a creep.
Yes.
Charlie Sykes took the bark off him today really effectively. But look, he's the guy in the pole position right now.
He is, and
Ron DeSantis is in the rearview mirror for Vivek Ramaswamy.
It's so true. And if anybody, Michelle Kinney said, if Andrew Yang and Matt Gaetz had a baby, it would be Ramaswamy.
Oh God, right?
And
all right, we've just been informed Trump is pulling up to the Fulton County Jail. We should probably let people go and have their enjoyment.
Okay. Well, he's pulling up. He hasn't gotten there yet. He's almost there. And as soon as we see him pull up, we'll sign off. But in the meantime, I think it's important that people realize that we have some cool Lincoln Project swag.
Oh, we do.
As a result of all of this.
This will be available for sale in like in the next hour.
Basically, after the mugshot is public, give it a couple minutes so that our crack team can snag it and place it on the swag. And guess what it is? We've got Lincoln Project shot glasses. They are pictures of the mug shots. I think we have a mock-up of it. Do you guys have the photo so we can show folks what it's so they have an idea? Oh, okay, they don't have it. All right. So as soon as the mug shots are out, well, the Trump mug shot, because we have the rest of them, we have a set of shot glasses that are going to be part of a set.
You'll have a collection of shot glasses that have the key indicted scumbags on them.
Yes, and our favorite phrase.
The Lincoln motto of FAFO.
FAFO. If you know, you know. One other thing, before we go, while Trump is still en route, So there was counter programming, right? And Trump went on Tucker Carlson's Twitter show, or whatever the hell it's called now, and it was pre-taped, so nobody really watched it at the same time because they could watch it at any time. I watched it this morning, so I don't understand the philosophy for that, because Trump wanted to be able to watch the debate, so that's why he didn't do it live. And God forbid the numbers weren't as great as he wanted them to be. So there is a whole lot of things there. But it was pretty nutty and bizarre. And Tucker Carlson was being a douchebag like he usually is. And
Tucker Carlson never.
I'm just saying, and we watched it so you wouldn't have to. So here are the highlights, lowlights, however you want to take it. Take a look.
Why aren't you at the Fox News debate tonight in Milwaukee?
Do I sit there for an hour or 2 hours, whatever it's going to be, and get harassed by people that shouldn't even be running for president?
Do you think Epstein killed himself sincerely?
I think he probably committed suicide.
He was killed.
You think so?
I think the closer you look, I'm not a conspiracy person at all.
The bus will go here and then the bus will go there because that's what buses do. And it's weird. The whole thing is weird. Chris Wallace, he was the moderator.
Not a friend.
I said, why is it he wants to be Mike, but he doesn't have the talent? It's one of those
bitchy little man. Don't they have to kill you now?
We lost 35,000 people because of the mosquito. Most of the states have so much water. It comes out of heaven, right? They have sinks where no water comes out. You turn it on, no water comes out.
Wait, they have sinks where no water comes out?
Hear ye, hear, the great state of Georgia is not capable or allowed to tabulate their votes.
How do you get indicted, every week and stay cheerful?
And Hillary Clinton goes crazy. Every time she talks, she says, he's not the president. Jimmy Carter said, he's not the president. Well, I am the president.
Do you think we're moving towards civil war?
January 6th was a very interesting day because they don't report it properly. There was love in that. There was love and unity.
So do you think it's possible that there's open conflict?
There's a level of passion that I've never seen. There's a level of hatred that I've never seen, and that's probably a bad combination.
This is the guy that 70% of the Republican Party supports.
My favorite line was Tucker says, I'm not a conspiracy guy at all.
Right. And then goes into a huge conspiracy. I just want to remind.
Back in the day, I don't even remember the title of it. Molly Jong-Fast and I wrote a fictional interpretation of the murder of Jeffrey Epstein that was conducted by Hillary Clinton and Jared Kushner. And they are each there to assassinate Epstein, and they encounter one another.
Don't let Tucker hear that. Don't forget it. He might put it on his. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but good God, I just want to remind people. A Quinnipiac poll came out this month that said 58% of Republican voters say that a convicted felon should not be eligible to run for president. And yet, they still support Donald Trump. And yet, last night during the debate, everyone on stage, as we said, raised their hand, except for, you can look here for yourselves. I don't think Chris Christie did. I think he was trying to get his hand up to say, I want to say something. But 6 out of the 8 raised their hands, and Vivek leading the way, Nikki Haley right after, and everybody else cravenly put their hands up because they realized the crowd was going wild. Take a look.
But we are going to take a brief moment and talk about the elephant not in the room.
Former President Trump has been indicted in 4 different states on 91 counts.
You all signed a pledge to support the eventual Republican nominee. If former President Trump is convicted in a court of law, would you still support him as your party's choice? Please raise your hand if you would.
Disqualifying. Absolutely disqualifying.
And folks, before we go, I would just want to make one other quick point. The work we do at the Lincoln Project and the team we have here at the Lincoln Project, we played a vital role in 2020. We played a vital role in 2022. We couldn't do it without you. We couldn't do it without your support. I hope that you'll go to lincolnproject.us/donate and give what you can when you can. I know, look, everybody's stressed, everybody's strained, and everybody really wanted to wait until this race really kicked off. But we need your support. We're asking for your support. We hope we can keep earning it every time that we have these conversations, that you see the ads we put up against Trump and against the Republicans that are supporting him. It's important. And we hope that you'll do one other thing for us, which is to share this content with your friends. I know the old, like the cliched thing of like and share, but it really does matter. It gets the message out further and further. So share it with your Facebook friends, share it with your YouTube friends, share it with your friends on Twitter. And on Threads and everywhere else.
Yes.
We're trying to get the message out across every single platform, and your sharing of this content really does help. So thank you.
Absolutely. And just to put emphasis on why it's so important right now, that same Quinnipiac poll that I just cited also has President Biden 47%, Trump at 46%. That means Biden is losing.
Face, y'all. We're not fooling.
This is a very close. The fact that we are going through all of this, that our democracy is under attack. We have an entire Republican Party that has no problem with throwing democracy out of the window in favor of autocracy. This is all going on right now. 47 for Biden, 46% for Donald Trump right now.
Yep.
We've got to change that. And it takes lots of work. It takes us, and I believe there's more of us than there are of them, but we all have to be engaged and make it work. So on that note, thank you, everyone. And we're going to show that mugshot when Donald Trump gets it. And we have the mock-up.
Check out the gear store for these
they loaded it up. This is what
it's going to look like. There we go.
But imagine Trump on there, and Rudy and everybody else. We've got them too. Just add Trump. So there it is.
Wait till you see him in real life. That's awesome.
All right, guys. Happy 4th Arrest Day. We'll see you soon.
Happy arrest. See you guys.